Oh, I just realized something. Crazy. There's no other language casters today. There's no Inu, there's no Maddox who casts in Korean. There is no Enki specifically. Enki, Papi. The Spanish caster's not here, so it feels bad, man. Feels bad. Hope everything's okay, and I hope we get to see them more in the future. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player, the ESL Open Cup Americas 177 champion, representing his new team, Majorino Esports. It is Astrea. Here we go. The PvZs do continue, but we only have one left. Only one left in this tournament as, oh, Dark. Oh, let's go. He's having some fun. So I keep bringing this up, and I keep having to, like, make up excuses for it not happening, but here we go. Dark has been proxy hatching a lot on this map, on Ancient Cistern. At least he did last month. I mentioned this before. For maybe 2 weeks, for 2 weeks straight, Dark on Ancient Cistern, on Gresvan, and on Royal Blood. Basically, the maps that don't have a ramp, going into the natural, Dark has been proxy hatching against Protoss players. And then he stopped. He did it for a solid 2 weeks, and then he stopped. And because he was being found out, because his opponents were having really good reactions, because they were figuring out that Dark was doing this constantly. But this became a build that now Dark has refined and is now within his repertoire. We do have a cancel on the Nexus as well. Australia's taking this very seriously. We should be seeing a Forge. For the time being, it's a 2-gate response with a Cyber Core. Zealot has been chronoed out. Ooh, Dark shows up with his drone, but alas, at least Astrea has scouted this. If this had gone unscouted, this is so difficult to defend, but Astrea sees it coming ahead of time. The hatchery will complete. We have a Roach Warren back at home. We're going to be going into proxy hatch into Roaches. You love to see it. Astrea doing a great job at just being as annoying as possible. Going to be delaying the natural base here of Dark. If there were to be one, throws down that pylon to delay it even further. And the Zealots are already chipping away at this hatchery. Meanwhile, Toolings, they do dip into the natural. Oh, and they go for the probe. And on creep, the probe should go down. There we go, the probe does fall. We do have a link slipping into the main base as well. Dark is going to be losing this hatchery. Is going to be going down to the Zealots, but Dark is transitioning into that Roach all-in. Probe has gone down. The Broodlings, they get a surround. They do get a surround on one of those Zealots, but only one. The other does survive. But the Roaches do come out here on the front lines anyway. There's thankfully a shield battery, and the shield battery is going to be able to force this back. Buy time a little bit, but straight supply blocked. He doesn't have a pylon. He does not have. Okay, the pylon does now finish up. He has now gotten free of said supply block for the time being, but the Lings are flooding on in, and we're getting us around on everything. There's no shield battery, there's no overcharge, there's no Nexus. That's what I meant to say. The shield battery is out of energy, and it looks like Dark has broken through. We do have a Stalker on the way. And the Stalker will come out. The boys are being pulled. Can Astrea defend here? It looks like... Oh, God. He's not going to try. Well, he backs off. He doesn't go for the surround. He's waiting for another wave of Stalkers. This pylon has survived so long. And again, the wall continues to not be a wall at this point. The Stalkers fall one after the other. This pylon is going to be going down, and that is all the production available here for Astrea. He has 3 Stalkers remaining. Thankfully, we do have a shield battery in the main. And we do have a Void Ray on the way, but we're supply blocked. The supply block, Papi. Not like this. Back at home, Dark is transitioning. We have a hatchery on the way. Dark can attempt to drone if he wishes to, as he continues to spread creep. The boys are being pulled. The Lings, they go for a full surround. The Biles will be connecting as well on those Stalkers. Great control here out of Dark, as the overcharge has already run out. Things are getting out of control. The Void Ray should be able to finish up in time. But how much is Astrea going to lose before that happens? Oof. Yeah, as we do have a Biles being thrown down. 15 probes full. Astrea down to only 10 workers. And even though Astrea will clean this up because of his Void Ray, this creep everywhere, we're expanding, we're double expanding, we have a third base on the way. Dark is just chilling, is just droning. Now he has to be careful because the Void Ray does have a lot of potential, but Dark should be able to make queens back at home. Like, he should have plenty of anti-air. Oh. Aye. And with that, Astrea is now on the back foot. Again, it was very bold of him to, like, he canceled his Nexus. So he was initially taking it very seriously, but after he did kill the hatchery, like, there was no forge behind it, there were no cannons either. He just wasn't able to stem the tide. He will get one queen here in the middle of the map, as Astrea is looking for some counter damage, but that, the Void Ray takes a lot of hits. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. Whew. In very stylish fashion. Chi. Oh my god. But yeah, just again to bear in mind, Dark, he has been refining his proxy hatches, or he did refine them last month, taking down big names, taking down players like Hero, taking down players like Classic as well with his proxy hatches, and now this has become a build that he won't necessarily bring out all the time, but he now has it within himself to whip out at any point in a best of series, and that is what is dangerous now about Dark. It was always dangerous about him, but proxy hatches are now something that he can do on maps like Ancient Cistern, Gresvan, Royal Blood as well. Oh boy, it's terrifying. And now he has a lead in this series. Now Astrea is on the back foot. Is Dark going to do that again this series? Unlikely. Unlikely for him to do it again, but he doesn't have to. You know, he already has a lead, and now he can go back to what he does best, like Nidus. Ay. Don't like this, Papi. Don't like this. I was for Dark left side, which is right side of the prediction. No! Smurge, Papi, smurge. Feels bad, man. Be careful with your predictions. Be careful. Take your time. Predict wisely. As we're now getting into game number 2. Again, just for some context for people wondering, typically to defend against proxy hatches, if you recognize that it's going to be a committed proxy hatch and they're not going to try to transition out of it, which, I mean, you should be expecting that anyway, that they are. You know, when you're proxy hatching, when it finishes, we're going to commit. Typically, forges are very useful defensively just because your production capabilities are quite limited. As we saw, like, we only have 2 gateways and they were a part of the wall, so you don't have access to a lot of units in general as a Protoss player, so you make up for that with stack defense, whether it's shield batteries, cannons as well. That all does assist in the defense against something like a proxy hatchery, just because you need everything you can just to help survive. On top of that, you know, the supply blocks didn't help our Protoss player either. But spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaiser Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player representing Macherino Esports. It is Astrea. boy, this is such a Dark thing to do as well. Dark moves out with his drone, he patrols for a while, he waits for the probe to go into the main, and then he takes his natural base. I know that there have been discussions about this amongst the pro players, about whether this is worth it, because in a way it's like, it's a little bit inefficient because Dark's hatchery is delayed because of this. It's later than he would like, but maybe it's worth it because he gets it down at a reasonable location. Doesn't have to worry about, you know, defending his spread out bases and being spread too thin and struggling with creep spread as well. So I actually don't really know too many other Zerg players that do this, other than Dark, who again purposefully delays his own natural base just to get it on location. Oftentimes he sends out 2 drones. He has 1 drone out here patrolling, and he has another drone ready to dive in as well, depending on where the probe goes. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting kind of a tidbit here for Dark. For Dark specifically in ZVP. Just one of his tendencies. As we're going to be getting into this game, once we get enough gas for Link speed, we do pull out. A beautiful pull out as well. At exactly 100 gas. Dark does now refrain from mining any more gas and head towards those minerals instead. Meanwhile, Astrea back at home, going for an aggressive opener. Twilight Council is thrown down here from Astrea, and this could be dangerous. This could be for Glaive Adepts, this could be for DTs, as we saw from Geralt earlier today as well. It's going to be on Dark to figure out what is going on. Against Geralt, Dark was able to see everything, including the Dark Shrine. Meanwhile, Astrea pulls out of gas, so this looks to be Glaive Adepts. Oh my. Okay. As an Adept does slip into the main base, we're still waiting for a little bit more gas here before we really commit into said upgrade, but there we go, Glaives is going to be on the way. If you're wondering, the sign of Glaive Adepts, the sign of 4-gate Glaive Adepts, I should say, is when the Protoss player does pull out of gas, just because you don't really need that much, especially this early on, so that's why they only have two gas mining in both gas geysers. Meanwhile, we do have an Adept trapped here at the natural. We do try to recall it to safety, but it does go down in the end, so good control there out of Dark. Meanwhile, so far, we don't really have too many gateways to work with. We have 3 gates here set up for Astrea. We should be seeing a 4th gateway, but again, even with 4 gates, oh no! Even with 4 gates, it's not going to be that committed as the Lings do slip on it. We're going to surround on the Adept and on the Stalker as well. Things are getting out of control real quick. Before anything even does begin. Meanwhile, behind this, Dark did throw down a very fast Roach Warren. He's going for a Roach Rush in a way. Lings do slip on in, and Dark has eyes on the opener. He's aware of the Glaives. But this is such an odd way to open up Glaives, I'll be honest. Like, we only have 3 gateways here for Astrea. He's being slowed down. It looks like Astrea intends to expand. And there we go. 3rd base is going to be thrown down behind this. So this is going to be a very light aggression from Astrea. Not the most committed Glaive Adepts with this. Some of the most uncommitted Glaive Adepts we've ever seen. But as a result, he's going to be in trouble because he doesn't have that much production to work with. He won't actually be able to make that many Adepts. And Dark is going to be the aggressor here with Ling Ravager. We have a lot of Lings on the way. And if Astrea loses these Adepts, Dark is going to be flooding across the map and he's going to be denying this 3rd. We only have 4 Adepts. Astrea being zoned away as we speak. Yeah, Dark recognizes you don't have that much. I don't need to be here. I don't need to be at home. I can just send everything across the map instead. And that's exactly what he does. Lings have arrived here at the 3rd base location. Shield battery gets focused down. Adepts are being warped in. Adepts have nowhere to run. And here come the Biles. Oof. Oh, hot pickup there from Astrea, able to save those Adepts in the end, but the Lings and the Ravagers are still going to be a little bit too much. We even get a surround on that Immortal. Good control here from Astrea. He's going to be able to keep these units alive, and Dark overextends. Let's have a look at that trade here. Dark throwing away 56 lings, and he didn't really get too much damage done. We do have a surround on this army, but again, because of the Prism, Astrea, he can micro to his heart's content. He has to be careful though, that Immortal is getting so low. Oof, and the Immortal goes down. A little bit of miscontrol from Astrea. Losing a little bit too much, and yeah, now his third base is under threat. Now it is going to go down. Oof. Third will fall. Astrea just doesn't have much else to work with. The wall, no! The wall is not a wall. There is no shield battery either. GG gets called. And Dark will take the series 2-0. GG. Again, Dark was getting ready for 4-gate Glaive Adepts when he realized, hold up, we're not really warping too much in. There's not that many Adepts here aggressively threatening me, so why keep all these lings back at home? Why not send them out across the map instead? GG, well played. Dark will take the series 2-0 and advance on to the grand finals. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. GG, well played. My condolences to Astrea. Unfortunately, in game 1, he wasn't able to play out his game, and here in game 2 as well, Dark was just so aggressive with his lings early on, and he was wreaking a lot of havoc. He delayed the Glaive Adept push from Astrea as well, and Astrea just wasn't able to ever get into the mid game. He was never able to get into his own game, unfortunately, and yeah, Dark was just far too aggressive for him, and I hope he's feeling good about making it this far anyway. You know, he made it to the semifinals. He does walk away with some cash prize pool, so at least he's able to make some money here today in his tournament run. But alas, this week will not be his week to reprise his role as the champion of ESL Open Cup Americas. This week it will be either a Terran or a Zerg, as Dark is now going to be going up against Beyond.